Brokerage accounts. What to expect when opening one. Watch this video to understand what to expect when opening a brokerage account, including what information you will need to provide, what decision you'll be asked to make, and what questions you should ask your broker. Brokerage accounts differ from investment advisory accounts, which generally are governed by different rules and regulations. Before opening an account with any broker, you should always remember to check the broker's background and disciplinary history. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of Sweetie Kiwi. How are you doing today? I hope you are doing splendid. If you are doing as splendid as I am, go grab a cup of coffee or tea or let's roll. Today I want to talk to you about brokerage account. We live in a world where everybody wants to open a brokerage account. It's important, but folks have to know the ins and outs of this type of accounts because they carry serious consequences if you happen to interact with the wrong broker. So information you will need to provide. Brokers generally request personal information from their customers, including financial and tax identification information. Whether you open the account on the internet from a smartphone or through an app or online through a desktop, brokers need this information to comply with laws and regulations. Some of the information a broker will likely ask you to provide includes your name, social security number or taxpayer identification number, address, telephone number, email address, date of birth, driver's license, passport information or information from other government issued identification, employment status, and occupation. Whether you are employed by a brokerage firm, there are some other regulations, extra regulations, your annual income, net worth, and investment objectives, and risk tolerance. It is critical, folks. Whatever you supply to the brokerage company, please have a copy. If you send them information electronically, you want to save the info you send to them somewhere, either on the cloud or on a USB drive or whatever. You want to have a backup copy. And this is really, really important. Whenever you're sending your personal info to any financial institution, you want to keep a copy. Now, so this is the information you'll need to provide. Why broker-dealers ask for personal information? Brokers generally request personal information from their customers, including financial and tax identification number, to comply with the United States government laws and rules, as well as rules imposed by self-regulatory organizations, the so-called SROs. So brokers request personal information from new customers as well as from customers who have had long-standing relationships with their firms. This is part of what's called in the industry KYC, the KYC process, know your customer process. Here are some of the reasons why brokers need to gather this information. First, the suitability requirements. So under SRO rules, when a broker recommends that a customer buy or sell a particular security, the broker must have a reasonable basis for believing that the recommendation is suitable for that customer. In other words, the broker must just be comfortable and confident that the recommendation makes sense based on the person's investment objectives and their profile, the investor's profile and objectives. In making that assessment, the broker must consider the customer's risk tolerance, other security holdings, financial situation, in other words, the income and also the net worth, the investors, the customers' financial needs and investment objectives. Information on FINRA suitability rule, along with links to other materials concerning suitability, may be found on the FINRA website. So I just want to sort of say that the brokers are not just asking this because they want to ask the info. They need to comply with U.S. government laws and rules as well as FINRA regulations. Besides suitability requirements, you also have record-keeping requirements. So SEC Rule 70A-317 requires that brokerage firms create a record for each account with any individual customer that includes the following information: the customer name, the tax identification number, for example, the social security number, the address, the telephone number, the date of birth, the driver's license, passport information, or information from other government issued identification, the employment status and occupation, whether the customer is employed by a brokerage firm, annual income, net worth, and account investment objectives. Brokers must make a good faith effort to obtain this information. However, if the customer neglects or refuses to provide the information or is unable to provide it, then the rule excuses the broker from obtaining it. In other words, the SEC is not going to sue the broker if the broker has done everything possible, everything operationally possible, and in compliance with existing laws and regulations, but the customer did not reply to the broker in due time. So brokerage firms have some flexibility as to how they send this request to the customer and may incorporate it into a customer account statement. So the SEC rules requires a brokerage firm to periodically send this information, excluding the customer's tax identification number and date of birth, to its customers to verify whether the information is accurate. And the SEC has banned the use or the release of a social security number and date of birth for security reasons, and that makes sense. So broker dealers are also subject to SRO record keeping requirements, in part to ensure that the firms have an updated understanding of their customers' financial situation and investment objectives. Another reason why broker dealers ask for personal information is to help the government fight anti-money laundering and anti-terrorist financing requirements. So AML, anti-money laundering is called AML. So the brokers must comply with the customer identification rule the SEC issued jointly with the Department of the Treasury to implement the provision of the USA Patriot Act of 2001. So this rule requires essentially brokers to put procedures in place to verify the identity of any person seeking to open an account, to maintain records of the information used to verify the person's identity, and to determine whether the person appears on any list of known or suspected terrorists or terrorist organizations provided to broker-dealers by any government agency. So under this rule, brokers are required to collect certain identifying information from customers opening new accounts, including at least the following information. There are 4 important elements that at a minimum, any broker must collect: the customer name, the address, his or her address, his or her identification number. This could be social security number for U.S. citizens, and TIN, the tax identification number for non-U.S. citizens, and the date of birth. So this requirement sets the minimum information brokers must obtain. So brokers may require that customers provide them with more information for purposes of this rule. Here I'm talking about the USA Patriot Act of 2001. I'll be right back right after this. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of Sweetie Kiwi. We're also having a conversation here around brokerage accounts, what to expect when you are opening one, decisions you'll need to make. Would you like to open a cash or a margin account? When it comes to brokerage accounts, there are 2 types of accounts. So brokerage firms generally offer at least 2 types of brokerage accounts: a cash account and a margin account. Let's just define what we're talking about when we say cash account and margin account. So in a cash account, you must pay the full amount for securities purchased. You may not borrow funds from your brokerage firm in order to pay for transactions in the account. In other words, let's say you have $5,000, you open a brokerage account and you funded the account with $5,000. If you want to buy securities, you are limited to buying securities worth $5,000 or less. You cannot go above that. Now you might be asking, well, that makes sense. If I have $5,000, I can only buy $5,000. Well, the answer is no, because as you will see in the next category of account, you can actually buy more than $5,000, and that's what's called a margin account. So in a margin account, you can borrow funds from your brokerage firm to purchase securities. This is called buying securities on margin. So the brokerage firm uses the security in your margin account as collateral for the money it lends to you to purchase these securities, and you pay interest on the money you borrow. Margin accounts can offer you greater purchasing power, but also expose you to the potential for larger losses. Remember, the higher the risk, the higher the rewards, but also the higher the losses. For additional information on margin accounts and cash accounts, you want to actually, the SEC has a great resource about you want to go to the SEC website and read about margin accounts and cash accounts. Another question you want to ask, or another decision you need to make, is who will make decisions for your account? Are you comfortable giving discretionary authority to another person? So you will make your own investment decisions for your account unless you grant discretionary authority, what lawyers call discretionary authority, to someone else to make decisions for you on your account. This could be a trustee. This could be a financial manager. This could be anyone. If you give a durable power of attorney, financial power of attorney to someone, that person will be making financial decisions on your behalf. We've covered the topics of durable financial power of attorney in our estate planning category here. So you want to go into our estate planning playlist, and you will have all info about trust account, financial power of the durable financial power of attorney, all this kind of good stuff. So if you want someone else to have discretionary trading authority on your account, you will need to provide him or her with written legal authorization. So you can ask your broker for the correct form to fill out. Before granting anyone, this is important, folks, anyone discretionary authority over any brokerage account, you should seriously consider the risks involved in allowing someone else to make decisions about your money. Another decision you'll need to make is this: what are your investment goals and how much risk are you comfortable taking? This begs the question about risk profile, risk aversion, or your risk profile. Are you a risk taker, or are you risk averse? When you open a new brokerage account, you may be asked to specify your overall investment goals or objectives and how much risk you are willing to tolerate. Different firms use different terms to describe investment objectives or risk tolerance levels. Some common terms are capital preservation, income, growth, moderately aggressive growth, and speculation. So you start from low risk to high risk. So low risk will be capital preservation. You just want to maintain a certain level of capital, and high risk will be speculation. So make sure you understand what these terms mean and how much risk is involved with each objective. In selecting an objective risk category, you should also consider when you expect to need fast access to the funds in your account. If you have questions, always ask your broker. Other questions you need to ponder as you open a brokerage account are: how do you want to manage cash in the account? Sometimes you may have cash in your brokerage account that has not been invested. When you open a brokerage account, your broker may ask you to choose a cash management program for this uninvested cash. Brokerage firms may offer several cash management programs to their customers. So you can have, for instance, a bank sweep program that involves the automatic transfer of any uninvested cash in the brokerage account into a deposit account at a bank, or banks that may or may not be affiliated with a broker-dealer. That's one way of doing it. Some programs allow you to sweep funds to one or more money market mutual funds, or you may simply leave uninvested funds in the brokerage account. Remember, though, that your brokerage firm may not offer any of these options for your uninvested cash. For example, some brokerage firms require a bank sweep program for uninvested cash. Each of these cash management programs offer different benefits and risks, including different interest rates and insurance coverage. So the terms and conditions of these cash management programs vary between brokerage firms. At the end of the day, it's all about your objectives. It's all about whether you want to have capital preservation, you want to hang on to cash, the most cash possible, or you want to invest everything. So make sure you understand and carefully consider the available options, benefits, and risks associated with each management program, cash management program, before selecting one for your uninvested cash. How do you want to receive your account statements and confirmations? This is another question you need to ponder and answer to before or during the brokerage account opening process. So brokers generally are required to provide you with account statements and confirmations. This can be done automatically. In other words, once you place a trade, you get an email, or you get an SMS, or you get some kind of a written confirmation. You can get the account statements on a monthly basis or quarterly basis, or even biannual basis, based on the settings, based on the parameters you have set. Your broker may give you the choice of whether to receive account statements and transaction confirmations on paper or electronically. Others may not offer a choice. For example, some online-only firms may limit their customer communications to online or electronic means and charge customers a fee to receive account statements and confirmations on paper. Account statements and confirmations help to protect you because you can track your account, you can monitor what's going on in the account, and you can make decisions quickly, as opposed to if you were not receiving any information at all. So you may also want to consider whether you want a person whom you trust to receive duplicate account statements and transaction confirmations. I was speaking earlier about having a durable financial power of attorney or having a trustee. If you have such a person making trading decisions in your investment account, in your brokerage account, it might make sense to also have duplicate account statements and transaction confirmations being sent to that person. I'll be right back now after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of Sweetie Key, where we're also having a conversation today around brokerage account and what to expect when opening one. And if you love the content's clarity and quality so far, please consider subscribing to our channel and turn on the notification bell so you are informed in real time whenever we release a new show. And we do this every single day, rain or shine. And also, if you love this content, please like this content, share, comment below. And also, if you have questions, please ask any questions that you have, and we'll be very happy to answer you. I want to talk to you about understanding the fees. I was talking earlier about some online-only firms may charge you some fees to receive account statements and confirmations on paper. Let's have a broad conversations about fees. You will pay various fees in connection with your brokerage account. That makes sense. Those fees and their amounts will vary among broker-dealers. Before opening your brokerage account, make sure you understand what fees will apply to your account. Some example of common fees include transaction costs. So these are the costs you will pay when buying or selling securities. Securities include bonds, ETFs, stocks, index funds, mutual funds, and so on and so forth. Some examples of transaction costs include commissions, so a fee you pay to the broker-dealer for executing a trade, often based on the number of shares traded or the dollar amount of the trade. Markups or markdowns. This is an amount to compensate a broker-dealer for sales from purchases into the broker-dealer's own inventory. So when buying or selling from its own inventory, the broker-dealer generally will be compensated by selling the security to you at a price that is higher than the market price. The difference is called a markup, or by buying the security from you at a price that is lower than the market price. The difference is called a markdown. You also have loads. This is a sales charge you pay when buying or redeeming shares in a mutual fund or variable annuity. You have account maintenance fees. This is a monthly, quarterly, or annual fee that a broker-dealer may charge you for certain brokerage accounts below a certain dollar threshold to keep these accounts open at the brokerage. You also have account maintenance fees that you need to know that account maintenance fees vary among broker-dealers and they do not necessarily apply to all brokerage accounts at a broker-dealer level. You have inactivity fees, a fee that a broker-dealer may assess on your brokerage account if you have made few or no transactions for a period of time. This makes sense because broker-dealers actually incur various fees to keep account open. They have to hire people, they have to employ people, they have to use technology, they have to maintain servers. So if accounts are inactive, they're actually losing money. So they're charging some fees to cover their basic activity cost. You also have account closing fees. This is a fee, as the name implies, that a broker dealer may charge you when you close your account. Margin interest, the interest that a broker dealer may charge you for loans from your margin account. Remember, a margin account is an account in which you can buy securities with an amount that is higher than your cash value. So the broker dealer is lending you money, extra cash, to be able to, so that you can buy the securities you want to buy. Of course, the broker dealer is holding the securities as collateral, but they're also charging you interest. And you also have wire or transfer fees. So those are fees a broker dealer may charge you to wire money from your brokerage account or to transfer assets or cash to another broker dealer. So in addition to the fees associated with your account, you will likely have additional fees in connection with certain investments, such as mutual funds, ETFs, and variable annuities. I just want to give you I want to make a quick comment about transferring securities to a new account. So when you move an existing account, in addition to paying fees, you may also have to pay other costs. You may have other costs. You may also find that you cannot transfer certain securities. For example, your new broker dealer may not accept all the securities in your old brokerage account. In these cases, you may consider leaving the securities with the broker dealer or selling the securities and transferring cash to your new broker dealer. Remember though that when you do that, you will probably pay a commission or other fees in connection with any securities you sell. Depending upon the type of account you held with your former broker dealer, you may find that there are taxes, penalties, or restrictions for selling or moving your securities. My advice here is to make sure that when you choose a broker, you choose a broker that is large enough, that is prominent in the industry, so that you don't have to transfer from one broker to another. It's just better to have I'm not advertising for any broker dealer here, but when you go with a broker like Fidelity or Charles Schwab, those are big established brokerage firms. They have been doing business for the last 30, 40, 50 years or more, and they are prominent. So when you choose a big broker dealer, you are sure that you will be around for a long time and you don't have to incur the kind of penalties and taxes I just mentioned earlier. Let's also talk about the SIPC, the Securities Investor Protection Corporation. If your brokerage firm goes out of business and is a member of the Securities Investor Protection Corporation, then your cash and securities held by the brokerage firm may be protected by SIPC coverage up to $500,000, including a $250,000 limit for cash. So if an SIPC member becomes insolvent, SIPC will ask a court to appoint a trustee to supervise the firm's liquidation and to process investors' claims. So SIPC protection applies to most types of securities, such as stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. Nonetheless, and this is an important one, SIPC does not protect you against losses caused by a decline in the market value of your securities, and it does not provide protection for investment contract not registered with the SEC. So if you have more questions about the SIPC, you want to go to the SEC website and you want to go to www.sec.gov/answers/SIPC.htm. I'll be right back right after this. Go ahead. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of Sweetie Kiwi. We're also having a conversation here around brokerage account and what to expect when opening one. And here are the quick questions you should ask before opening a brokerage account. What services will I receive with this brokerage account? What are the fees associated with this account? Is there a complete schedule or a list of fees? Who will make investment decisions for my account if this is a discretionary account? I'm moving my account from another broker dealer. Will all my securities transfer from my old broker dealer? If not, which securities will not transfer? Do you charge a fee for moving the securities from my old account into my new account? Is this a margin or a cash account? Can you explain the differences between the two? What choices do I have regarding investments? What choices do I have regarding cash sweep programs? Can you explain the benefits and risk of these programs, including any insurance protection, interest rates, and cost I will incur? How can I access funds in my account and how much time does it take? How will I receive my account statements? Will they be online or in paper? Who do I have to contact if I have a question or a concern regarding my account? So those are key questions you should ask before opening a brokerage account. This is a non-exhaustive list. So if you have, based upon your situation, I would say contact the broker, read about them on the internet, and ask a professional to kind of help you in asking the right questions to the brokerage institution where you want to open an account. Thank you so much for today's conversation, for sticking around. I really appreciate it. I will see you next time. Until then, remember, stay.